My ex-wife tried to steal the house I built with my bare hands using fake abuse claims. I fought back and won, but the victory tastes hollow. Update 5 at bottom. Final resolution. I'm writing this from my living room. The same living room I designed on graph paper when I was 27 years old. The same living room where I laid every floorboard myself over the course of 3 weekends. The same living room where, for months ago, I wasn't allowed to set foot because my wife told a judge I was dangerous. I won. Let me say that up front so you know this story has an ending. I got my house back. She got nothing. She's facing criminal charges. Justice, in the legal sense, was served. But I'm sitting here alone at 11 p.m., and I don't feel like a winner. I feel like someone who survived something that should never have happened. Let me start from the beginning. The house. I started working at 18. Nothing glamorous. Warehouse jobs, retail, eventually I got into construction. While my friends were going to college parties and taking spring break trips, I was pulling double shifts and eating ramen for dinner. I didn't resent them for it. I just knew my path was different. By 20, I understood something that a lot of people my age didn't. Nobody was going to hand me anything. My parents were good people, working-class folks who did their best, but they had nothing to give. No inheritance coming. No family business to join. No safety net if I fell. If I wanted a life, I had to build it myself. So I did. Literally. I made myself a promise on my 20th birthday. By the time I was 35, I would own my own home, free and clear. No mortgage. No bank owning a piece of my life. Just me and 4 walls that belonged to nobody but myself. I lived in a studio apartment the size of a prison cell for 9 years. 280 square feet, including the bathroom. The walls were thin enough that I could hear my neighbor sneeze. The heating barely worked in winter. The single window looked out at a brick wall. I drove a car that was older than most of my coworkers. A 1998 Honda Civic with over 200,000 miles on it. The air conditioning died in 2015 and I never fixed it. Just rolled down the windows and sweated through the summers. I didn't take vacations. Not a single one in 9 years. While coworkers showed me photos from Cancun or Vegas, I nodded politely and went back to work. I didn't buy new clothes unless the old ones had holes that couldn't be sewn. I cut my own hair. I packed my lunch every single day. Same turkey sandwich, same apple, same bottle of water filled from the tap. Every luxury, every small pleasure that other people took for granted, I denied myself. Every paycheck, I did the math. Bills, food, absolute necessities, and everything else went into savings. Some months that everything else was only $50. Some months it was $500. It didn't matter. It all went to the same place, the same dream. I built that house with my own hands. Every dollar I saved since I was 20. Then I put her name on it because she cried and asked, "Don't you trust me?" I trusted her. That was the problem. At 29, I bought a piece of land outside the city. 2 acres, nothing fancy, bordered by trees on 3 sides. The realtor probably thought I was crazy, a single guy in his 20s, paying cash for raw land. But I knew exactly what I was doing. Over the next 2 years, I built my house. I did most of the work myself, framing, electrical, plumbing. I took every construction class the community college offered. I watched thousands of hours of tutorials. I made mistakes and fixed them. I cut my hands open more times than I can count. What I couldn't do alone, I hired out and learned from, standing beside licensed contractors and absorbing everything they could teach me. I was there every single day after work. Every weekend. Every holiday. While others went to Christmas parties and 4th of July barbecues, I was installing insulation, running wire, laying tile. My social life essentially disappeared for 2 years. I didn't care. $340,000. That's what it cost when everything was done. No mortgage. No debt. Every nail, every brick, every window paid for with money I earned and saved over a decade of sacrifice. 15 years of work crystallized into something I could touch, something I could stand inside, something that was mine. I remember the day I moved in. It was a Thursday in October. The leaves were just starting to turn. I brought nothing but a sleeping bag and a camp chair. My furniture was still in storage. I sat down in the middle of the empty living room, looked up at the ceiling I'd installed myself, and cried. Not because I was sad, because I'd done it. Against all odds, despite every setback, I'd built something permanent. Something that couldn't be taken away. I was so naive. The beginning. I met her at a friend's wedding. She was a bridesmaid, I was a groomsman. Classic setup, right? I noticed her during the ceremony. She kept glancing over at me, and I kept glancing back. At the reception, we ended up at the same table. She was beautiful. Not in a flashy way, but in a warm, approachable way. Bright eyes, easy smile, the kind of laugh that made you want to say something funny just to hear it again. Smart, too. She had a degree in marketing, worked at a decent company, had her life together. We talked all night, closed down the bar, exchanged numbers in the parking lot. Our first date was coffee. Our second was dinner. By the third date, I knew I was falling for her. She seemed genuinely interested in me, not just polite, but actually interested. She asked about my work, my hobbies, my dreams. When I told her I'd built my own house, her eyes lit up. You built it yourself? Like, actually built it? Most of it, yeah. That's incredible. Can I see it sometime? When I showed her the house for the first time, she walked through every room with this look of wonder on her face. She touched the walls like they were made of gold. When we got to the kitchen, she turned to me with tears in her eyes and said, "You built this? With your own hands? That's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. You should be so proud." I thought I'd found my partner for life. We got engaged after a year, married 6 months later. Small ceremony, nothing extravagant. Neither of us wanted a big production. Just family, close friends, a simple celebration of two people starting a life together. She moved into the house, my house, and I thought our real story was just beginning. Looking back, I can see the red flags now. They were there from the start, plain as day. I just didn't want to see them. I was too busy being in love with the woman I thought she was. Update 1. The slow unraveling, months 1 to 6. The first month was fine. Happy, even. But by the end of month 1, she quit her job. "I want to focus on making our home beautiful," she said. "Let me take care of things here while you work. We're a team." I supported it. I made good money. I could handle the bills. And honestly, I liked the idea of her being happy, of coming home to a warm house and a home-cooked meal. By month 3, she wanted new furniture. The couch I'd bought wasn't good enough. The dining table was embarrassing. She needed a complete renovation of the kitchen that I'd installed myself, that I was proud of. "It's our home now," she said. "Don't you want it to be perfect for both of us?" I paid $20,000 for furniture and upgrades. I told myself it was an investment in our marriage. Month 6. This is when it happened. The moment that changed everything. She came to me one evening, very serious. We were sitting on the couch, the original couch, before she made me replace it, and she muted the TV and turned to face me. "I've been thinking," she said, "about us. About our future." I thought she was going to say she wanted kids. Or a vacation. Something normal. "We're married now," she continued. "This is our home. But my name isn't on anything. The deed, the utilities, the insurance, it's all in your name. Like I'm just a guest here." "It's not like that," I said. "This is your home. What's mine is yours. But legally, it isn't." Her voice got thicker, like she was holding back tears. "What if something happens to you? I'd have nothing. The house would go to your family, and I'd be homeless. Is that what you want?" "Nothing's going to happen to me. You don't know that. People get sick. People have accidents. Don't you trust me?" That phrase. "Don't you trust me?" She knew exactly what she was doing. She'd probably practiced it. I hesitated. The house was mine. I'd built it before I even knew her existed. It represented everything I'd sacrificed for. But she had a point, didn't she? We were married. What was mine was supposed to be ours. That's what marriage meant. If you don't trust me enough to put my name on our home, then what are we even doing? Now the tears came. Real tears, or what looked like real tears. I gave up my career for us. I gave up my independence. I'm here every day making this house a home while you're at work. And you won't even acknowledge that this is my home too. I tried to explain that it wasn't about trust. That the house was just different. That I'd built it before we met. That it represented years of my life. She cried for 3 hours. Wouldn't eat dinner. Went to bed without saying good night. The next morning, she was cold and distant. This went on for a week. Every time I tried to talk about it, she'd say, "I just need to process that my husband doesn't trust me." The guilt was crushing. Here was this woman I loved, who I'd pledged my life to, and I was treating her like a tenant instead of a partner. What kind of husband was I? What did it say about me that I couldn't share my home with my own wife? So I added her name to the deed. We went to a lawyer's office. She squeezed my hand the whole time. When it was done, she hugged me and whispered, "Thank you for trusting me. I love you so much." It was the biggest mistake of my life. Update 2. The transformation, months 7 to 18. After her name was on the deed, she changed. Not overnight, it was gradual, subtle. But looking back, I can see exactly when the shift began. She became less affectionate. The warm dinners waiting for me became frozen pizzas. The conversations became complaints. Nothing I did was right. The way I loaded the dishwasher was wrong. My friends were boring. My hobbies were childish. She started going out with friends several times a week. Coming home late. Being vague about where she'd been. Month 14, I found the texts. She'd left her phone on the kitchen counter while she showered. It buzzed, and I glanced at it reflexively. The message was from a contact saved with heart emojis. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Miss you already." My stomach dropped. I confronted her when she came out. She denied everything. Called me controlling. Said I was paranoid and suffocating her. Said that if I couldn't trust her, maybe we shouldn't be together. She turned it around on me. Made me apologize for looking at her phone. I actually apologized. Can you believe that? My wife was texting another man with heart emojis, and I apologized for catching her. She recorded every argument. I thought it was strange but didn't understand. She was building a case. For months she was collecting ammunition while I thought we were trying to fix our marriage. Month 18, I noticed something strange. She'd started recording our arguments on her phone. I saw her do it once, and when I asked why, she said it was for her therapist. She said she wanted to show her therapist how I talked to her. I thought it was weird, but I didn't push it. What could she possibly be doing? We were married. We were supposed to be working through things together. I was so stupid. By month 20, she moved to the guest bedroom. "I need space," she said. "I need to think about what I want." I suggested couples counseling. She refused. I tried to talk to her about what was wrong. She stonewalled me. Our house became two separate lives happening in the same building. Month 22. I came home from work to find police cars in my driveway. Update 3. The ambush, the accusation. The police showed up at my house and told me I had to leave. My house. That I built. That I paid for. Because she wrote lies on a piece of paper. That's all it took to steal my life. My wife had filed for an emergency protective order. She claimed I had threatened her. She claimed I controlled every aspect of her life. She said she feared for her safety. All of it was lies. Every single word. But in domestic cases, courts act first and ask questions later. They have to. Real victims need real protection. The system exists for a reason. But when someone exploits that system, when someone weaponizes it against an innocent person, there's no immediate recourse. I was removed from my own house. My house. The one I built with my hands. I wasn't allowed within 500 feet. I had to find somewhere else to live while the legal process played out. I checked into a motel that night. A $50 a night motel off the highway, the kind of place with stained carpets and a Bible in the nightstand drawer and a rattling air conditioner that never quite made the room cool enough. I sat on a bed that smelled like cigarette smoke and stared at the ceiling and tried to understand what had happened. 24 hours earlier, I'd been a homeowner. A married man. A person with a future. Now I was sitting in a motel room that cost less per night than what I used to spend on dinner. The next day, she filed for divorce. Her attorney's filing was a masterpiece of manipulation. It asked for the house, alimony, and a significant share of my savings. The argument was that the marital home should go to the abuse victim for her protection and recovery. There were pages about my supposed pattern of controlling behavior. Pages about how she feared for her life and needed the security of the home. My nightmare had begun. She posted photos from my living room with her boyfriend while I slept in a motel. The same living room I designed. The same couch I paid for. She didn't even wait for the divorce. She'd already won in her mind. The guy from the texts with the heart emojis? He moved in within a week. Into my house. My house that I built. They posted photos on social media. Photos taken in my living room, my kitchen, my backyard. Pictures of them laughing and drinking wine in the space I created with my own hands. Pictures of them cooking in my kitchen, relaxing on my furniture, enjoying my life like they'd earned it. Someone sent me screenshots. I don't know why. Maybe they thought I should know. Maybe they were just cruel. Either way, I sat in that motel room and looked at pictures of another man in my home, with my wife, living my dream, and I felt something inside me break. Someone anonymously tipped off my employer. Did you know you have a domestic abuser on your payroll? HR called me in for a meeting. I had to sit across from two people I barely knew and explain that I was accused, not convicted, that I denied everything, that I was fighting the allegations. They put a note in my file. My boss, a man I'd worked for and respected for years, looked at me differently after that. Not hostile, exactly. Just different. Like he was waiting to see which version of me was real. My friends started to pull away. Some of them heard the accusations and didn't know what to believe. Rumors spread through our social circle like wildfire. I heard he hit her. I heard she was scared for her life. I heard he threatened to kill her. Each retelling made it worse. People I'd known for 15 years wouldn't return my calls. Wedding invitations stopped coming. I became a pariah in my own community. I lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks. I couldn't eat, everything tasted like cardboard. I couldn't sleep, every time I closed my eyes, I saw the police at my door, the look on their faces, the moment they told me to leave my own home. I lay in that motel room night after night and thought about everything I'd lost, everything that had been stolen, everything that was being said about me behind my back. She did this before. Another husband, another accusation, another settlement. I was just the next target. She saw me at that wedding and saw a house, not a person. Update 4. The investigation, fighting back. I knew I was innocent. But knowing something and proving it are two different things. I hired an attorney, not just any attorney, but a bulldog. Someone who specialized in cases exactly like this. Someone who knew how the game was played and knew how to play it better. The truth is on our side, she told me in our first meeting. But truth doesn't prove itself. We need evidence. We hired a private investigator. The first thing he found changed everything. My wife had done this before. At 23, she'd been briefly married, for less than a year. That marriage ended with similar accusations. Similar protective order. And a settlement. She walked away with a chunk of her first husband's assets in exchange for dropping the claims. I wasn't her first victim. I was just the next one. Her sister showed us the texts. Month 2 of our marriage. House is worth $340,000. Just have to wait. Month 2. Our honeymoon photos weren't even printed yet and she was calculating how to rob me. The investigator dug deeper. He found her social media posts from before we met. Jokes to her friends about finding a rich guy to take care of her. Comments about how marriage was the easiest way to get set for life. He found texts to her sister from month 2 of our marriage, month 2, that said, house is worth $340,000. Half is $170,000. Just have to wait for the right moment. The right moment. She was planning this before our first anniversary. Before our honeymoon photos were even printed. Our entire marriage was a con. But here's what really broke the case open. My attorney subpoenaed her phone records. The threatening messages she claimed I'd sent her? The ones she presented to the court as evidence of my abuse? The timestamps didn't match. The metadata showed they were created after she filed her report. She fabricated them. The recordings of our arguments, the one she said proved how I verbally abused her? We got the original files. They'd been edited. She had cut out everything that showed her provoking the fights, screaming at me, pushing me to react. She'd kept only my responses, stripped of context. And the neighbors? Our investigator talked to every single one of them. Not one had ever heard any sign of abuse. But 3 of them had seen her boyfriend visiting our house during the day, while I was at work. One of them had photos. The final piece came from an unexpected source, her own sister. The sister felt guilty. She'd watched her sister do this before. She'd stayed silent the first time, told herself it wasn't her business. But watching it happen again, to another innocent person, was too much. She agreed to testify. She had text messages where my wife had bragged about the plan. Messages where my wife had laughed about how easy I was. Messages that proved, beyond any doubt, that this was premeditated fraud. Update 5. The victory, final resolution. The protective order hearing came first. My attorney laid out everything. The fabricated messages. The edited recordings. The pattern of behavior. The texts to her sister. The neighbor testimonies. The evidence of the affair. My wife's story fell apart under cross-examination. She contradicted herself. She couldn't explain the timestamp discrepancies. She couldn't explain why her recordings had been edited. She got caught in lie after lie. The judge called her accusations fabricated and malicious. Said she hurt real abuse victims by lying. But I'm the one who spent 4 months in a motel. I'm the one whose friends believed her. Words don't fix that. The judge was furious. Not just at my wife, but at the situation. False accusations like these waste the court's resources and damage the credibility of real victims, he said. They make it harder for people who genuinely need protection to be believed. The protective order was denied and dismissed with prejudice. Her credibility was destroyed. The divorce proceedings that followed were almost anticlimactic. With the protective order gone and the evidence of fraud exposed, everything shifted. The judge saw the texts to her sister, proof that she'd added her name to the deed through manipulation, with the intent to steal. He saw the evidence of her previous marriage and the pattern of behavior. He saw the proof that the house was 100% mine before marriage, paid for with my documented savings. The judge's ruling was decisive. I was awarded full ownership of the house. My wife received no alimony, no assets, nothing. Her attorney fees were her own problem, and she was referred to the prosecutor's office for filing a false police report and perjury. The criminal charges are pending now. Her boyfriend left her the moment it became clear there was no money coming. I heard from a mutual acquaintance that she moved back in with her parents. The same parents who enabled her through 2 fraudulent marriages. I got my house back. The aftermath, where I am now. I'm sitting in my living room. The same living room I've been describing this whole time. The same living room I dreamed about when I was 25 and working double shifts to save money. The same living room I designed myself, built myself, paid for myself. I won. The house is mine. She's facing charges. Everyone knows the truth now. I should feel relief. I should feel vindication. I should feel like justice was served. Instead, I feel hollow. I built this house dreaming about a family. I imagined kids running through the backyard. I imagined holidays around that dining table I picked out myself. I imagined growing old here with someone I loved, someone who loved me back. Instead, I sit here alone, and every room holds a memory of betrayal. I walk into the kitchen and remember her complaining that it wasn't good enough. I walk into the bedroom and remember her moving to the guest room. I walk into the living room and think about the photos she posted with her boyfriend, lounging on my furniture like they'd won. She never loved me. She never saw me as a person. I was a target. I was a house and a bank account and a victim waiting to happen. She stood at that wedding and looked at me and saw not a man but a mark. People ask me if I'll date again. I don't know. Something broke in me during those 4 months in the motel. Something about trust, about believing that another person could actually see you and care about you. I know intellectually that not everyone is like her. I know that there are good people in the world. But every time I think about opening up to someone, about letting someone into my life again, I feel a wall go up. My friends say I should sell the house. Start fresh somewhere new. Let go of the memories and the trauma and build a different life. Maybe they're right. Maybe staying here is just keeping me trapped in the past. But I built this place with my own hands. Every board, every nail, every hour of work, that was me. That was my life. That was everything I sacrificed and dreamed about and achieved. She took my dignity. She took my reputation. She took 4 months of my life and my trust in other people and my ability to believe that marriage could ever be safe. I'll be damned if I let her take this house too, even as a ghost. I'm staying. Not because I'm happy here. Not because staying is healthy or smart or going to help me move on. I'm staying because leaving would mean she won something. And she's already taken enough. If you're reading this and you're in a similar situation, please know, document everything. Trust your instincts when something feels wrong. Don't let anyone pressure you into major legal decisions. And if the worst happens, fight back. The truth can win. It just takes everything you have to prove it. I won my case. I got my house back. Justice was served. But some victories don't feel like victories at all. They just feel like surviving. Edit. Thank you all for the support. I'm reading every comment. To those who have been through something similar, I'm sorry. To those who asked, yes, I'm in therapy. I'm working on it. One day at a time. Final edit. Someone asked what advice I'd give to anyone in this situation. Here it is. Never add someone to your property deed without consulting a lawyer first. Never. No matter how much they cry. No matter how much they accuse you of not trusting them. If they truly love you, they'll understand. If they don't understand, you have your answer about who they really are. I learned that lesson the hardest way possible. Maybe my story can help someone else learn it without paying the same price.